The scarred cowboy, who'd paid a king's ransom for Sophia Holland, hadn't bothered to ask if she was actually worth buying. And by the time he discovered she was a fraud with nothing to sell but her heart, she feared it would be too late for them. Both. Lightning fractured the midnight sky as Sophia huddled beneath the station's meager overhang. Rain lashed sideways, soaking her once fine traveling dress that had seen too many miles since Philadelphia. Her trunk, containing the last scraps of her former life, sat waterlogged beside her. No train would arrive until morning, and the station master had locked the waiting room hours ago. Thunder rolled across the Texas plains, bringing with it the rhythmic sound of hoofbeats. A lone rider materialized from the darkness. The stallion beneath him was midnight black, its coat slick with rain. Its rider sat tall in the saddle, broad-shouldered and imposing beneath a wide-brimmed hat pulled low. "Miss Holland?" The voice was rough as gravel, but quiet. Too quiet for a man his size. Sophia stiffened. How did he know her name? Her fingers instinctively tightened around the small derringer hidden in her pocket. The last gift from her father before everything fell apart. "Who's asking?" She fought to keep her voice steady. The rider dismounted with surprising grace. As he stepped into the weak lamplight, Sophia barely stifled her gasp. A jagged scar ran from his right temple to the corner of his mouth, twisting his otherwise handsome face into a permanent half-snarl. His eyes, one deep blue, one clouded gray, studied her with unsettling intensity. "Logan Hawkins," he answered. "Your arrangement with my brother Ethan is now with me." The blood drained from Sophia's face. Ethan Hawkins, her last hope, her salvation from disgrace back east, the man who'd answered her desperate letter with a marriage proposal and funds for passage to Texas, the man who'd promised protection from her cousin Henry Russell's ruthless pursuit. "I don't understand," she whispered. "Where is Ethan?" "Dead." The word hung between them, stark as the lightning that illuminated his scarred face. "Fever took him 3 weeks ago." Sophia's knees buckled. Logan Hawkins moved with surprising speed, catching her elbow before she hit the muddy platform. "If you're expecting tears for a man I never met, Mr. Hawkins, I'm afraid I've used mine up elsewhere." She straightened, pulling away from his touch. "But I am sorry for your loss." His expression remained unreadable. "The agreement stands. You need protection. I need a wife to secure my land claim." "Just like that? You'd marry a stranger? You were going to marry Ethan, weren't you? I'm offering the same arrangement." His gaze swept over her, assessing. "Unless you've changed your mind." The derringer felt heavy in her pocket. Behind her lay only railroad tracks disappearing into darkness. Ahead stood a scarred stranger offering marriage with all the emotion of a cattle transaction. "I haven't changed my mind," Sophia said quietly, "but you might once you learn the truth. And what truth is that, Miss Holland?" Thunder crashed again, closer this time. The rain intensified, pelting the wooden platform like bullets. "I'm not who your brother thought I was." The confession emerged softer than the rainfall. "I'm not who anyone thinks I am." Logan Hawkins studied her for what felt like an eternity. Then he removed his duster and draped it over her shoulders in one fluid motion. The warmth of it, of him, enveloped her instantly. "We all have secrets, Miss Holland." His voice dropped lower. "I don't much care who you were, only who you'll be." He gathered her trunk with one arm, as though it weighed nothing, then offered his other arm to her. "My ranch is half a day's ride from here. We can shelter at the doctor's place tonight. Mason, Fleming owes me a favor." Sophia hesitated. Everything in her life had led to this moment, standing in a downpour with a scarred stranger who spoke of marriage as casually as the weather. Her cousin Henry would be following her trail, determined to drag her back to claim her father's estate. Her options had narrowed to this single dangerous choice. "And if I refuse?" she asked. Logan's scarred mouth twisted into something resembling a smile. Then I'll tip my hat. Wish you good fortune, and leave you to your prospects, Miss Holland. I'm not in the business of forcing women to do anything. Sophia clutched his duster tighter around her shoulders. In his mismatched eyes, she saw neither cruelty nor kindness, only a practiced emptiness that mirrored the hollow place inside her own chest. "Take me to your ranch, Mr. Hawkins," she said finally. He nodded once, then helped her mount his stallion, before climbing up behind her. His chest pressed against her back, solid and warm, as he clicked his tongue and guided the horse away from the station. What neither of them noticed was the silhouette of a man watching from the shadows of a distant building, a man with cold eyes who'd been tracking Sophia Holland since St. Louis, a man who'd already sent a telegram to Henry Russell announcing he'd found the runaway heiress at last. Dawn broke over the rolling hills like a fever, hot and unforgiving. Sophia woke disoriented in Dr. Fleming's spare room, the events of the previous night flooding back with startling clarity. The scarred cowboy, the rain, the bargain struck with a dead man's brother. She dressed quickly in the single change of clothes she'd kept dry, running her fingers through tangled hair that had once been tended by maids. A soft knock interrupted her thoughts. "Miss Holland?" It was Dr. Fleming's wife, Lillian, a woman with kind eyes and a voice like warm honey. "Breakfast is waiting. Your companion has been up for hours." Companion. The word hung awkwardly between them. What was Logan Hawkins to her? Future husband? Reluctant protector? Complete stranger? "Thank you, Mrs. Fleming." Sophia smoothed her skirts, wrinkled beyond salvation, and followed her hostess down the narrow hallway. Logan Hawkins stood when she entered the kitchen, that ingrained Western courtesy at odds with his fearsome appearance in daylight. The scar was somehow worse, a white lightning strike across sun-darkened skin. His clouded eye caught the morning light, revealing flecks of blue still fighting through the damage. "Your trunk's loaded," he said without preamble. "We should reach the ranch before sundown if we leave within the hour." "Good morning to you too, Mr. Hawkins," Sophia replied, accepting the coffee Lillian offered. Dr. Mason Fleming, a man with intelligent eyes and surgeon's hands, cleared his throat. "Logan's never been one for pleasantries, Miss Holland. Gets it from his father, God rest his ornery soul." Logan's jaw tightened almost imperceptibly. "Time's wasting, Doc." "Sit down and eat, both of you," Lillian commanded. "The biscuits are getting cold, and I won't have it said that the Flemings send guests away hungry." Something in her tone brooked no argument. Even Logan complied, lowering his considerable frame back into a chair that seemed too delicate to support him. They ate in silence, the weight of unspoken questions hanging heavy as the humid Texas air. Sophia caught Logan studying her when he thought she wasn't looking, calculating something behind those mismatched eyes. "The circuit preacher comes through in 2 weeks," Logan said suddenly, cutting through the quiet. "We can make it official." "Then," Sophia set down her coffee cup with deliberate care, "you're still intent on this arrangement, then? Without knowing anything about me?" "I know enough." His gaze didn't waver. "You're running from something, or someone. You need somewhere to land. I need a wife to satisfy the land grant requirements. Simple transaction." "Nothing about this is simple, Mr. Hawkins." His scarred mouth twisted. "Life rarely is, Miss Holland." After breakfast, Dr. Fleming pulled Logan aside while Lillian helped Sophia gather her few belongings. Through the thin walls, Sophia caught fragments of their conversation. "Not Ethan, Logan can't expect her to be my business, not yours. That land's not worth your soul." Then Logan's voice hard as iron. "We done here, Doc?" The journey began in tense silence. Logan rode behind her again, close enough that she could feel each breath he took, yet somehow 1,000 miles away. The Texas landscape unfolded around them, vast and untamed, dotted with mesquite and live oak. In the distance, heat mirages shimmered like false promises. Your brother, Sophia ventured after an hour had passed. What was he like? Logan's chest expanded against her back as he drew a deep breath. Ethan was light, where I'm shadow. Never met a stranger he couldn't charm, or a horse he couldn't gentle. Had big dreams for that patch of dirt we call home. And you don't share those dreams. A humorless laugh rumbled through him. I'm a simple man, Miss Holland. Give me good cattle, clean water, and land to call my own. That's all I need. Yet here you are, collecting a mail-order bride to secure more land. His arms stiffened around her. That was Ethan's doing. But I honor my family's commitments, even when they're inconvenient, especially then. The words came low and rough. A man's word is all he has out here. They stopped to water the horse at midday. Logan dismounted first, then reached up to help her down. His hands spanned her waist easily, calloused and strong. For one breathless moment, she found herself caught in his grip, her face level with his, up close. The scar tissue looked painfully tight, pulling at the corner of his eye and mouth. Without thinking, she raised her hand toward it. Logan jerked, back as though burned. Don't. The single word carried years of rejection. Sophia's hand fell away. I'm sorry, she whispered. No need. His voice was flat. I know what I am. And what's that, Mr. Hawkins? A hard man for a hard country. He turned away, leading the horse to drink. Nothing more. As they resumed their journey, clouds gathered on the horizon. Sophia felt Logan tense behind her. Storm's coming, he muttered. We need to push harder. The stallion's pace quickened beneath them. Through afternoon heat that bent the air itself, Sophia spotted a lone rider in the distance, watching them from atop a ridge. When she blinked, the figure was gone. Did you see that? She asked. Logan's hand moved to the rifle holstered against the saddle. See what? A rider. On that ridge. His eyes scanned the horizon, narrowing against the glare. It could be anything. Cowhand, traveler. A pause. Or trouble. My cousin wouldn't come himself, Sophia said, more to herself than to him. He'd send someone. Logan's arm tightened around her waist. This cousin. That who you're running from? Before she could answer, a distant crack split the air, unmistakable even to her eastern ears. A rifle shot. Hold on, Logan growled, and the world blurred as the stallion leapt forward into a full gallop. The Hawkins ranch emerged from the landscape like a stubborn afterthought, a low-slung house of limestone and timber, weathered by sun and storm, flanked by a barn, corral, and bunkhouse. No grand plantation like the home Sophia had fled, no ornate details or decorative gardens, just honest craftsmanship built to endure. Logan had outrun their pursuer with a horseman's instinct, taking paths no eastern tracker would know to follow. Now, as twilight painted the sky in watercolors, he dismounted with practiced ease, then reached up for Sophia. Her legs trembled beneath her skirts, unaccustomed to hours in the saddle. Welcome to Broken Spur, he said, the name fitting this, place of hard angles and practical necessities. A ranch hand emerged from the barn, a young man with a shock of red hair beneath his hat. Boss, wasn't expecting you back till tomorrow. Change of plans, Jack Larson. Logan turned to their luggage. This is Miss Holland. Jack's eyes widened slightly as he glanced between them, understanding dawning. Miss Sophia, but I thought... Ethan's... Gone, Logan cut him off. The arrangement continues with me. The words hung in the air like the promise of rain, inevitable yet unsettling. Jack nodded once, then hurried to help with the trunk. Inside, the house told the story of men living without women's touch. Functional furniture arranged with little thought to comfort. Walls bare, save for a rifle mounted above the stone fireplace. A kitchen showing signs of bachelor cooking. It's not much, Logan said, watching her take it all in. Ethan had plans to expand, but... It's shelter, Sophia replied. After what I've left behind, that's more than enough. Logan's mismatched. I studied her with that same calculating intensity. You'll stay in Ethan's room. I've been using the one off the kitchen since he took ill. She followed him down a short hallway to a modest bedroom. A quilt in fading colors covered the bed. A bureau stood against one wall, its mirror clouded. With age. I'll bring your trunk, Logan said, turning to leave. Mr. Hawkins. Sophia stopped him. That rider. You don't seem concerned. His hand lingered on the doorframe. This is Hawkins' land for 20 miles in every direction. No one approaches the house without my men knowing. You're safe here. Safe. She tested the word, finding it foreign on her tongue. I haven't felt safe in a very long time. Something flickered across his scarred face. Recognition, perhaps. Get some rest, Miss Holland. We have matters to discuss come morning. Morning arrived with the smell of coffee and bacon. Sophia found Logan at the kitchen table, ledger open before him, pen moving in precise strokes. He'd shaved, she noticed, the scar more prominent against clean skin. There's coffee, he said without looking up. Food's keeping warm on the stove. Sophia served herself, then sat across from him. You're an early riser. Ranch doesn't run itself. He closed the ledger. We need to talk about our arrangement. Yes, I believe we do. Sophia set down her cup. Starting with the truth. Logan leaned back, those mismatched eyes wary. I'm listening. My name is Sophia Holland, she began, each word carefully chosen. That much is true, but I'm not the wealthy Philadelphia heiress your brother believed me to be. Something tightened in Logan's jaw. Go on. My father was Albert Holland. He owned Holland Shipping. When he died 6 months ago, everyone expected him to leave a fortune. Her fingers traced the rim of her cup. There was nothing, just debts and empty accounts. And a cousin, eager to claim what was left. Logan finished. Sophia looked up, surprised. Henry Russell, my father's nephew. The terms of father's will stated I would inherit everything, provided I married within 6 months of his death. Otherwise, it all goes to Henry. And Henry doesn't want to wait. Henry discovered there was nothing left before I did. He proposed a marriage to protect me from scandal. Bitterness crept into her voice. When I refused, he became insistent, said he'd have me committed for hysteria if necessary. Logan's knuckles whitened around his coffee cup. So you ran. With what little money I could gather, I answered mail-order bride advertisements, hoping to disappear where Henry couldn't find me. And you chose Ethan. He seemed kind in his letters, gentle. Sophia met Logan's gaze directly. I never misrepresented my circumstances to him. I told him I brought nothing but myself. Yet you told me last night that you weren't who Ethan thought you were. Heat rushed to Sophia's cheeks. I feared you expected the heiress, not the penniless impostor. Logan stood abruptly, moving to the window. Outside, ranch hands were already at work, dust rising from the corral where horses circled. I have no use for fortunes, Miss Holland, he said finally. This land demands honest work and little else. Sophia watched his broad shoulders, tense beneath his shirt. The arrangement you proposed, is it still open to me? He turned, his expression unreadable. You understand what you're asking? Marriage to a man you barely know, a life far removed from anything you've experienced. I understand hardship, Mr. Hawkins, and I understand that sometimes survival requires difficult choices. Something shifted in his gaze. Respect, perhaps. Then yes, the offer stands. Relief flooded through her, followed immediately by a strange, new tension. Thank you. Logan crossed back to the table, retrieving his ledger. I have work to attend to. Make yourself at home. Jack can show you around if you're inclined to explore. As he reached the door, Sophia called after him, Mr. Hawkins, your scar. May I ask how it happened? He paused, one hand on the doorframe. For a moment she thought he might ignore the question. Indian raid, he said finally. 5 years ago, same. One that took our parents. Before she could respond, he was gone, leaving her with coffee grown cold and questions multiplying like shadows at dusk. Outside the kitchen window, a rider appeared on the distant ridge, the same watching figure from the day before, now openly, surveying the ranch with a spyglass that caught the morning sun. 2 weeks passed in a delicate dance of avoidance and necessity. Sophia found her place in the rhythms of ranch life, mending clothes torn by barbed wire, organizing the chaotic kitchen, learning to cook on the temperamental iron stove. Logan rose before dawn and returned after dusk, their conversations limited to practical matters. The watching rider had not reappeared, but Sophia felt eyes on the ranch nonetheless. Logan had doubled the night watch without explanation. The circuit preacher was due tomorrow. Their marriage, their arrangement, would become real in the eyes of God and Texas law. Yet they remained strangers, bound by convenience and fleeting necessity. As sunset painted the horizon in flames, Sophia found Logan at the corral, his powerful frame leaning against the weathered fence. Sweat darkened his shirt, testament to the day's labor. "Supper's ready," she offered, coming to stand. Beside him, he nodded, gaze fixed on a spirited black mare circling the enclosure. "Ethan bought her last spring, wild as the wind. No one's been able to break her." The mare snorted, tossing her head in defiance. "Perhaps she doesn't want to be broken," Sophia said softly. Logan's eyes, one clear, one clouded, slid to her face. "Some things need breaking before they're useful, and some things are perfect as they are." She met his gaze directly. "Wild things have their purpose too." A muscle worked in his jaw. "You're not here to philosophize about horses, Miss Holland." "No." She tucked a strand of hair behind her ear. "I'm here because we're to be married tomorrow, yet I know almost nothing about the man I'll call husband." Logan straightened, towering over her. "What would you have me say? That I'm a good man? That I'll make you happy? I don't deal in pretty lies." "Then give me ugly truths instead." Something dangerous flickered in his expression. Without warning, he gripped her elbow, leading her away from the ranch house toward a ridge overlooking the property. "You want truth?" His voice was rough as gravel. "Here it is." The land spread before them, acres of drought-stricken pasture, a creek bed more, dust than water, cattle thin against the darkening sky. "Broken spur is dying," Logan said flatly. 3 years of drought, cattle prices falling, the banks circling like vultures. Understanding dawned cold and clear. "The land grant. That's why Ethan sought a bride." Logan nodded once. "Governments, offering 2,000 prime acres with water rights to married settlers. Last chance to save what our father built. And now that burden falls to you. To us," he corrected, "if you go through with this." Night insects began their chorus around them. In the distance, a coyote called lonesome to the rising moon. "Why show me this now?" Sophia asked. "So you understand what you're agreeing to. This isn't some Eastern fairy tale. It's survival." His scarred face was harsh in the fading light. "You should know what you're marrying before you say those vows." "And what am I marrying, Mr. Hawkins?" His laugh held no humor. "A scarred man with a failing ranch and too much pride. That's the ugly truth you wanted." "You forget," Sophia said quietly. "I'm a woman with no fortune, no family, and a dangerous man hunting me. Perhaps we're well matched in our desperation." Before Logan could respond, Jack Larson's voice carried from below. "Boss, rider's coming! 6, maybe 7! Logan's expression hardened instantly. "Get to the house, now!" "Who is it?" Sophia's heart hammered against her ribs. "No one friendly comes at nightfall." He was already moving, one hand on her back, guiding her down the ridge. "Jack," he called, "get the men, arm yourself!" The ranch erupted into activity, hands rushing from the bunkhouse, rifles appearing as if conjured from air. Logan steered Sophia toward the main house with singular focus. "Stay inside. Lock the doors." He pressed a revolver into her hands. "You know how to use this?" She nodded, fingers closing around the familiar weight. "My father taught me." Something like approval flashed across his face. Then he was gone, striding toward the approaching riders. From the window, Sophia watched 7 men materialize from the gathering darkness. Their leader, a lean man with a shock of silver hair, dismounted with casual confidence. "Evening, Hawkins," his voice carried through the open window. "Been a while?" "State your business, Carter." Logan's reply was cold as iron. "Just passing through." The man called Carter gestured expansively. "Heard you had a visitor. Thought I'd pay my respects." "Nothing here concerns you." Carter's laugh slithered through the night air. "Now that's where you're wrong. I represent certain interests back east. A Mr. Henry Russell sends his regards to his dear cousin." Ice formed in Sophia's veins. They'd found her. "Whatever you're selling, I'm not buying." Logan's stance widened, hands loose at his sides. "Ride out while you still can." "The lady's worth quite a bounty," Carter continued as if Logan hadn't spoken. $5,000 to the man who brings her home. She is home. A shame. Carter sighed theatrically. "Mr. Russell said you might be difficult, said I should persuade you by whatever means necessary." In one fluid motion, the man drew his pistol. Logan moved faster, his own gun clearing leather before Carter's finger found the trigger. The sound of gunfire split the night. Men scattered for cover. Through the window, Sophia saw Logan dive behind a water trough as bullets splintered wood around him. The firefight erupted in earnest, muzzle flashes illuminating the darkness in staccato bursts. A stray bullet shattered the window beside her, sending glass raining across the floor. Clutching the revolver, Sophia made her decision. She couldn't hide while men died for her. Not again. As she reached for the door, a deafening crack of thunder rolled across the sky. Rain, the first in months, began to fall, slow drops quickly becoming a deluge. Through the downpour, a bullet found its mark. Logan Hawkins crumpled to the mud, his blood mingling with the rain-soaked earth of the land he'd fought so desperately to save. Sophia had never fired a gun at a human being before. The weight of the revolver seemed impossibly heavy as she stepped onto the porch, rain soaking her dress in seconds. Through the downpour, she saw Logan struggling to rise, one hand pressed to his shoulder, dark blood seeping between his fingers. Carter's men, momentarily distracted by the sudden storm, hadn't noticed her. Their attention remained fixed on the bunkhouse where Jack Larson and the other hands returned fire. Lightning split the sky, illuminating the scene in stark relief. In that frozen moment, Sophia raised the revolver and fired. She missed Carter by inches, but the bullet found his hat, sending it spinning into the mud. 7 pairs of eyes turned toward her. "The next one goes between your eyes," she called, her voice carrying clear through the storm. "I am not property to be claimed, Mr. Carter, and I am certainly not returning to Henry Russell." Carter's laugh was ugly. "Look at this, boys. The little songbird has talons." He gestured to 2 of his men. "Take her." Before they could move, Logan's voice cut through the rain. "I wouldn't." He stood now, rifle somehow in his hands, barrel trained on Carter despite the blood streaming down his arm. Behind him, Jack Larson and 3 ranch hands had emerged from cover, weapons ready. "You're outnumbered, Carter," Logan continued, "and outgunned." "You're bleeding out, Hawkins," Carter countered. "How long can you hold that rifle steady?" "Long." "Enough." The steel in Logan's voice could have cut glass. For 1 heartbeat, then 2, no one moved. Rain pounded the earth, turning dust to mud around their boots. Then Carter raised his hands in mock surrender. "Another time, perhaps," he said, backing toward his horse. "Mr. Russell is a patient man, and $5,000 buys a lot of patience." "Not on my land," Logan growled. "You come back, you better bring a preacher and an undertaker. You'll need both." Carter mounted with deliberate slowness. "This isn't over, Hawkins. It is for tonight." The riders departed as they had come, ghosting into the stormy darkness. Only when the last hoof-beat faded did Logan's knees buckle. Sophia reached him just as he sank to the ground. "Inside," she ordered, slipping beneath his uninjured arm. "Jack, help me." Together they half-carried Logan into the house. By lantern light, Sophia cut away his bloodied shirt. The bullet had carved a deep furrow across his shoulder, painful but not life-threatening. "Send someone for Dr. Fleming," she told Jack, who nodded and disappeared into the rain. "Waste of time," Logan muttered. "It's just a graze." "Be quiet," Sophia said, cleansing the wound with steady hands. "I've dressed wounds before." His mismatched eyes studied her face. "During the war?" "My father's shipping company." "Accidents happened." She worked methodically, applying pressure until the bleeding slowed, though none quite so dramatic as getting shot defending a woman you barely know. "You're to be my wife tomorrow," he replied simply. "That means something to me." Sophia's hands stilled. "Does it?" Logan reached up, his calloused fingers catching hers. "Yes." Something shifted between them, a current stronger than the storm. Outside, for the first time, Sophia saw past the scar to the man beneath. "They'll come back," she said softly. "As long as I'm here, you're in danger." "I've faced worse." His grip tightened. "The question is, can you face this life? The hardship, the isolation?" "I've survived Henry Russell, and losing everything I knew, I think I can manage a stubborn cowboy and a drought-stricken ranch." She finished bandaging his shoulder. "Besides, it appears the drought has broken." Outside, rain continued to fall, a cleansing deluge after years of dust. Dawn arrived with lingering showers and a landscape transformed. The creek that had been dust now flowed brown with runoff. Parched earth drank deeply, and even the air seemed to breathe differently. Dr. Fleming arrived mid-morning, confirming what Sophia already knew. Logan would heal with time and care. By afternoon, the rain had settled into a gentle patter, and clouds parted enough to admit scattered sunlight. "Preacher might not make it through these roads," Jack commented as he helped mend the broken window. Logan, arm in a sling but otherwise mobile, looked to Sophia. "We can postpone." "No," she said with quiet certainty. "Carter will return, with or without a preacher. I'd rather face whatever comes as your wife than as your burden." Something like admiration flickered in Logan's eyes. "Then we'll find our own way." They stood beneath the oak tree near the house as the day faded toward evening. No white dress or pressed suit, no flowers or music. Just a man and woman facing each other as Jack Larson and the ranch hands gathered in witness. Logan took Sophia's hands in his. The words came not from ceremony but from somewhere deeper. "I offer you my name, my protection, and my loyalty," he said, voice low and sure. "What began as arrangement I hope might grow to more. This land, this life, they're not easy, but they're honest, and they're yours to share if you'll have them." Sophia looked up at this scarred, complicated man, not the husband she'd imagined, but perhaps the one she needed. "I offer you my strength, my companionship, and my truth," she answered. "What began in desperation, I believe, can become something stronger. I claim no skill at ranching, but I know how to endure. And I choose to endure with you, if you'll have me." Their simple vows hung in the rain-washed air. Then Logan did something unexpected. He smiled, his scarred face transforming with the rarity of it. "I reckon that makes us husband and wife," he said softly. "I reckon it does," she replied. Their kiss was brief, but carried the weight of promise. As they turned toward the house, their house now, Sophia noticed something impossible. At the edge of the yard, where nothing had grown in years of drought, a single wildflower had pushed through the mud, its purple petals unfurling toward The clearing sky, like that determined bloom, some things needed storms to awaken. Some hearts, like parched earth only opened after rain. If this tale of scarred redemption and blooming courage stirred your spirit, leave your mark in the ledger of comments below. And should you wish for more frontier romances where wounded souls find healing in unlikely hearts, don't let your trail go cold. Follow for the next chapter in our continuing saga.